morning, campers. So today we're going to be talking about karmic relationships. I've recently posted a few videos. It was 4 parts of signs that you are in a karmic relationship and not true soul connection, soulmate or twin soul connection. And I've given you ultimately 20 points, 20 indications, 20 signs that if these things are present within your relationship, that it is not a true soul connection, it is actually a karmic relationship. So what we're going to be talking about today is basically what now. So you've watched that video served as a confirmation, because this is always how it always works. It's not like I'm giving you things and suddenly you're like, oh my God, I thought I was in a soulmate connection and now I realize that I'm not. We usually subconsciously deep down know these things. We may be denying them. We may be falling into illusion. We may be choosing the illusion, but somewhere deep down, our body knows. And we've covered this in the series that our body is very wise. This is why certain of those points, some of these points that I've covered, they are based exactly on that the reason these things are present in a karmic connection is because your body knows. So your body subconsciously is resisting. And these days, because of variety of factors, the system that we live in, the conditioning, we are very, very disconnected as human beings from ourselves, from our bodies, from the meaning of life, right? So we operate on an autopilot, and it's something that we talk about a lot. So let's say you are in this moment of your life that you've realized, okay, I am in a karmic connection. This is not my true soul connection. So how do I end this? Because there is something within me that I cannot exit this relationship. Maybe I knew subconsciously, maybe deep down I wish I was in this happy true soulmate relationship, but I can't exit that relationship. I cannot find it in me to actually end this. So what we're going to talk about today is I'm going to give you six most common reasons and blockages why, despite the fact that you know that this is not your true love, your true soul connection, you still don't have it in you to end it. And knowing those 6 most common reasons, I'm going to give you some tips on what do you need to address. How do you need to start healing to address those blockages to actually exit that relationship. And before we start, I just briefly want to cover, just in case you're wondering, why should I exit that relationship? And I say this to you guys all the time on this channel. We have free will. The biggest gift of life is that we have free will. You can do whatever you want. This is the whole meaning of this physical experience, right? That we have spectrum of frequency from lower to higher vibration, and there is no truly good and evil. I teach this to you guys all the time. It's all an illusion. Everything is truly neutral, but there's a spectrum of things, and we choose what we prefer, right? So it's not like something bad will happen if you choose bad. Again, if you choose to stay in this relationship, this is your life to live. But you have to realize that if you are consciously choosing to stay in a relationship that is a karmic relationship, it is out of alignment. It is against divine law. And I've covered this in a video that I've done a couple of days ago, Divine Love, True Soul Love. So you can go ahead and watch that for context. Today, let's focus on those 6 blockages that are keeping you in that karmic relationship. Number 1 reason is fear. Fear dominates your energy. If you watch me, you would know that I always teach you guys that everything, bottom line, everything is rooted either in fear or love. This is the illusion of the duality, of the polarity of this world. We have fear and we have love. We have light and we have darkness, right? We have black and we have white. And if your energy is rooted more in fear, which is your shadows, right? Which is your limiting beliefs, you will be afraid to take that step. So if fear dominates your energy, and if fear dominates your energy, it's not just going to be fear towards ending that relationship, around ending that relationship, it's going to be fear overall. Because if we are more rooted in the energy of fear, an opposite of energy of love, freedom, authenticity, if we're rooted in that fear, we're going to be guided by fear in everything that we do, in every choices that we take. So it's going to be reflected not just in your relationship, but in your friendships, in how you're able to set boundaries, in your career options and choices, in your lifestyle choices, in your diet, and everything, right? So specifically in that context, you are in this karmic relationship, and let's say you feel, the moment I said it, you feel that this is your blockage, you're afraid. So what you need to do is you really need to identify, what are you exactly afraid of, right? So are you afraid of loneliness? Are you afraid of change? Are you afraid of anger that maybe this decision will cause within that person? Are you afraid of potential consequences, so what can happen next? Because those kind of decision, it will definitely get a little bit worse, but then it will get much better. Maybe you're afraid of being alone, or growing old alone. So what are you afraid of? Identify what are you afraid of, because each and every one of these fears will have a root cause. And for that exercise, what you need to do is just shadow work, just inner work. So you can either try to sort of contemplate on it, sit on it, think about this on your own. You can reach out for an assistance of a shadow worker, a healer. If you resonate with my energy, link is in my bio to sign up for a session. I've also recently created a shadow work playbook, so sort of a self-help tool that explains all the core wounds and all the shadows within human psyche that we can encounter. So you may use tools like that to support you on that journey, but you will have to find the root cause of this fear. We're not just fearful, you guys. As humans, we're not naturally fearful. We're not naturally that resistant. There's always a trauma. There's always an event, a shadow that happened, usually in childhood. We just need to connect the dots. We just need to understand, why am I afraid of being alone? Why am I'm so afraid of change? Why am I so afraid of growing old on my own? Why am I so afraid of, how this person will react? There will be a root cause within the suppressed subconscious shadows within you. Just need to bring them into the conscious mind and heal them. Number 2 blockage is guilt. This usually happens with people who are people pleasers, people who struggle to set boundaries. Both of these things come from lack of self-love, lack of deep, strong self-love as a foundation of our energy. So you would subconsciously feel guilty for choosing yourself, because perhaps you think that this person will not understand, or this person that you're breaking up with them, they will feel abandoned, or they will feel pain, or they not necessarily where you are, so they don't have the same understanding as you already do, that you do have this karmic relationship, that this is not true soul love, and it's not something that you want. So you feel that guilt. You feel like you are responsible for their life and their emotions, which you're not, and that's part of a shadow work to understand that. And you feel like you will cause them pain, you will cause disruption in their life. Oftentimes, if you feel like this may be the case, oftentimes guilt is rooted in past experiences. Obviously, it's going to be rooted in a specific shadow, but many times I find that people who are guilty to actually exit a relationship, they had a previous experience in their romantical life, sometimes not necessarily romantical life, it can be a friend or a family member, but oftentimes it is a past romantical partner where they actually did leave that person. They actually did step out of that relationship. And in consequence, this person was devastated, was broken, was heartbroken. Many times, if in a relationship things happen where your partner wants to keep you in that relationship, sometimes there are threats that I'm going to end my life because I cannot go on with you. You have ruined my life. You have abandoned me. You have ruined our family because you've stepped away from that relationship. You are egoistic. You are egocentric. And there are many things that a wounded person that is being abandoned, that is being left behind, can tell you, but this is none of your issues. This is none of your concern and none of your problems. Yes, we have to be very considerate. Yes, we have to be sensitive. But if we know that this person is not my true love, this person is not part of my path, is not part of my alignment, I am unhappy, I am sinking in that relationship, I'm losing myself in that relationship, staying because they don't want us to go is not a solution, is not an act of kindness, is an act of lack of self-love. More than that, if you have understanding of something that they don't have, it is your responsibility to actually take action. But oftentimes when people go through these difficult experiences and they don't heal these experiences properly, they don't forgive themselves fully, then entering next relationship, they create those strong codependencies that they are literally unable to exit that relationship, because every time they think about this, the guilt from the previous experience comes to the surface and sort of paralyzes them from taking the right action. Number 3 is conditioning. That is a very common one. So maybe you come from a culture, a family, an environment, overall the global conditioning of this world. It's these things are different and sometimes more pronounced in specific cultures, but overall it's still present everywhere in this world. Those nonsense beliefs that breaking up or divorcing someone, it's a bit of a frowned upon. It's seen as a failure because people still don't have the capacity to understand that life is constant change, that some endings are always beginnings. We just don't see them as such in a moment as we're going through them. So people sort of are programmed to believe that I get something, it should be permanent. If it's not forever, then it's not worth it, which is ridiculous because life itself, it's not forever, right? The temporarity of life is the whole meaning of life. So, but there's still many, again, cultures, families. Sometimes, people can hear like people in our family don't get a divorce. People in our family don't break up. There's conditioning that, someone who is single without a partner, that it's a loser, that there's something wrong with them, that they couldn't hold a relationship. Sometimes people believe that love and relationship means that you have to work on it and you have to give it another chance, and then third chance and fourth chance for the kids, for the commitment, which again is an illusion and is a conditioning. Because I've done a whole different video about this, but making an effort in love is not about forcing yourself to be in that relationship, not to exit it. Making an effort in love is when you meet your true divine love, your true soul partner, your sort of soulmate or twin soul. When you meet that person, putting in an effort means working on myself. Because I know that as long as I work on myself, the more I work on myself, the more we will vibrate together. And I've proven this to you guys in those 4 episodes, reasons, signs that you are in a karmic relationship. The more we are authentic, the more we are ourselves, the more we strip the layers of our shadows, the more we do inner work, the better our relationship, as long as it's a true soul relationship, will be. So when we talk about love requires work and requires compromise, we mean that you have to work on yourself. that you have to learn to exist in a partnership. But we don't mean, numb your authentic self and ignore the fact that you are unhappy and continue that relationship because breakup is bad, divorce is bad. When you're single, you're a loser. When you're single, you're not going to have anyone to, spend time with. These are all limiting beliefs from the conditioning, from the distortion within the culture, within sometimes religion. It's the collective wound, and it's something that is always, 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 always an illusion. So that can be a big of a blockage. So make sure that you examine what are still the beliefs that you were told that they are universal truths from childhood that you need to power through. Number 4, very common one, very, very big blockage is worthiness, is self-worthiness. You would be surprised how many people subconsciously actually don't believe that they deserve better. That can loop back to that guilt that we've discussed. So if one of your issues was guilt, examine that together, because that guilt may also cause a lower sense of self-worthiness. But many people, it's worthiness is such a huge collective wound. It's one of the core wounds that we all carry. If you're interested to know more, again, you can purchase my shadow work playbook, and there's a huge focus on that wound as well to understand it better. But it's something that you need to address as you do your shadow work. You need to address as you do your inner work, because if we really don't believe that we are worthy of something, there's just no physical, quantum, spiritual way to ever attract it. And many people think that because they dream of something, dreams equals worthiness, but it's not the case. Many people dream about winning a lottery, dream about having the perfect love, dream about having better life, dream about traveling, but deep down they are so wounded that their subconscious mind doesn't actually believe that they are worthy of receiving those things, right? And it's a whole big issue, and I don't want to go into the details because I could talk and blabble about this for hours, but worthiness is definitely something that you have to examine. Start from asking yourself, looking straight in the mirror, do I actually believe in my very core that I deserve better than this woman, than this man, and than this relationship? And remember, there might be nothing wrong with this person. It's just that they are not your soul connection. And that's the key thing that we need to remember. Do I really believe that I deserve to feel better in a relationship, to be loved more, to connect to someone deeper, to connect to someone more? Do I really believe that I'm worthy? Number 5, you don't want to be alone, and you lack faith that if you exit this relationship, you will actually find better. And the reason why we are afraid to be alone and we lack belief that we're going to find something better, yes, it will loop back to all those points that we've mentioned. So it will loop back to fear, it will loop back to worthiness, it will loop back to the conditioning. But there's one more element that is very important here that you have to ask yourself. Do you actually believe in love? Because you guys, it is so sad. It is so sad. But I see this all the time. People talk about love. People say that they dream about love. But then when you actually sit down with them and talk to them, and you start to describe to them how true love looks like, what are the qualities of true soulmate love that are actually effortless and natural in a relationship, this deep connection, this tantra, this best friends, this vibing together, right? And everything that I always tell you guys about, people actually don't believe it's true. And then again, we go back to the nonsense conditioning that they tell us that this is just fairy tales, this is just books, you're expecting too much, you're expecting a prince charming, on a white horse and coming to rescue you. And yeah, these are cliche things. But true love, this deep, amazing soulmate love that we see sometimes in movies, that pushes us to move mountains, to change, to do great things. It exists. It exists. But people don't believe it. So if you don't believe it, if your base belief is that mediocre BS karmic love is all that you can get, because you don't believe something that you haven't yet experienced, or perhaps nobody you know experienced, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. Have you met anyone who've been on the moon or who traveled to Mars? Doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Not being able to understand something, not being able to experience something on your own, not knowing anyone who experienced that, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. It's narrow-mindedness. I can tell you right now, it exists. I feel it. I am it every day. People who awakened, people who found their way back to true self-love and to alignment, they're living proofs of that. But even if you know, hundreds of these people stood in front of you, if you don't believe it yourself, you're not going to believe that you're going to be able to find it. If you don't believe something exists, how would you believe that if you embark on a quest looking for that, you'll find it? If you believe it's a fairy tale, right? And how do we believe in love? There is a very simple way to believe in love. It's not that simple, but it is, right? Because in reality, and I teach you guys this always, and I've mentioned this in this Divine Love video, we don't actually love another person. We become love. And when we become love, through stripping the layers of our shadows, through removing the frequency of fear and returning back home to self, to the natural frequency of soul that is love, freedom, and authenticity, we encounter another, we magnetize another that also loves themselves. And because we vibrate on a similar of same frequency, as we already mentioned in True Soul Connections, we become that love together, and we can experience that love through something external. So the best way to believe in love is through shadow work, through self-work, through inner work. Find your way back to yourself, to your heart, to your soul, because soul is love. And final one, which is number 6, is unlearned karmic lessons. A blockage within you that is stopping you from exiting karmic relationship may be that there are still unlearned karmic lessons. However, please hear me when I say, this is the reason it's number 6, is the last one. It's really not that common if you are actually conscious that you are in a karmic relationship, right? Because sometimes people want to break up with someone, but it's just like, oh my God, I'm so sick of this person. I cannot be with this person. I want to break up with them, but we constantly return to each other, right? But they don't know, they don't even think in this terminology of soulmate, shadow work, becoming a better person, getting aligned with your true soulmate. This is a karmic relationship. Karmic relationship is less. And they just know that I with somebody, they don't want to break up, but they cannot exit. In that case, sometimes it happens that there are still lessons that you haven't learned, or karma that you haven't cleared specifically with this person. I've done many videos about this, that in karmic relationship, karma exists on 2 levels. There's always a karmic lesson, and sometimes on the level of lessons, sometimes, not always, but sometimes in addition to that, you also have some karma to clear out with that specific soul that you're connecting to. But the moment you become aware, okay, there's soulmate, there's karmic, there's alignment, and that person is definitely not my soulmate, it means that the lesson won't be a blockage. You will have to learn that lesson, but at this point, the moment of your conscious awareness that this is a karmic connection, then you are capable of learning that lesson outside of that relationship. This is why I always tell you guys, if you would know if you come to me on sessions, I have ladies that come on session that are exactly in that moment of life, Gents are welcome too. Ladies are more prone to sort of work through these things these days. We're feminists, we're awakening first, we're living the time of great awakening, right? But men are wonderful. You guys follow the beautiful divine masculines. You're rising as well. But I wanted to say, you would know that I always advise you, the moment you exit a relationship and you consciously are exiting this relationship knowing that this wasn't your soulmate, this was a karmic relationship, there has to be a chapter in your life when you were embarked on a solo journey to address all these things that I mentioned, to make sure that you've learned all the lessons that were shown to you through this person in this relationship, that you remove the fear, you remove the lack of worthiness, you remove lack of trust in belief in love, you remove the conditioning, because if you don't remove all these things and if you don't learn all your lessons, next relationship that you will be sent will again be karmic. And this is the path of alignment. This is actually the path that I teach you guys to magnetize a soulmate, to find your way back to your soulmate. That way is through self-love, through self-healing, through self-understanding, through ascension, through vibrating on that frequency of love in opposite to that frequency of fear. All right, you guys, I hope this was helpful. If you're still here, definitely go and watch the Divine Love video because it will help you. And obviously watch the 4 videos that I've done about signs that you are in a karmic connection. If you're still here, definitely follow and like for more and to support. If you are sort of on a fence, you are in this feeling, this is a karmic relationship, I want to exit this relationship, but you are still feeling these blockages and you feel like you need support, definitely consider signing up for a session. Link is in my bio, or perhaps you're already broken up with this person. Perhaps you are now single and you are in a moment of life when you are looking back, which is a very important moment of life, looking back at all your relationship, and trying to figure out, what do I do now to make sure that the next person will be actually an aligned partner. And there's one more thing that I want to mention, going back to that conditioning, it just came to my mind because I hear this a lot. People say I am too old, and that is the most ridiculous thing I have ever heard. But you would not imagine if this part, because it's part of the conditioning, so it's going to be part of that point 3. You could not imagine, and I am a living proof of that, and every person who spiritually awakened, who found their way back to alignment, is a proof of that. You would not imagine how big of a change and a transformation person can go through in 1 year. In 1 month, actually, for some, but in 1 year, if you really put your work into your inner work, your shadow work, in 1 year, you can become a whole new person. Not to mention that in 1 year, your whole body almost rejuvenates and the cells get sort of go through process of death and rebirth as well. Maybe not entire body in 1 year, but most of your body. But within 10 years, you're a completely new person, even physically, right? So if you are right now in your 50s, in your 60s, and you are in this relationship and you're thinking to yourself, I'm too old to change, to exit. You are never too old. Time is just an illusion. It's one of the biggest illusions of the program of this physical world. It is never too late. Even if you were to live an aligned life for the last 5 years, it is worth it. For the last 5 years of your life, for the last 1 year of your life, it is worth it. Because if I could tell you number one reason why our souls come here, yes, they come for experience, yes, they come to learn lessons, yes, they come to have fun, right? Yes, they come for the challenge and for many things, but they come here to free their spirit. Body is a limitation. Program that we currently live in is a hell of a limitation. These are difficult times to live in, right? how dormant we are and how pushed we are into basically just one big distorted illusion on the meaning of life. We're awakening now, but for most part, most people, one big fat illusion. We come here to conquer our body and to free our spirit from the prison of a mind, so we can live this human experience, not from a level of ascension. I always say this to you guys, we ascended and descend. We want to live this human experience. We want to live experience that is temporary, where we are mortal, where we are fragile, where we feel pain, where we feel emotions, where we feel fear. We want that. But from the moment you awaken and you reach into your soul, you find your way back home to your soul, to that unconditional love that you carry within towards yourself and everyone and everything. You are able to descend back to this human experience and live it with the remembrance of who you really are. One supreme consciousness. You are the universe. You are God. You have the power to create your own reality, not through magically rubbing the genie and saying, I want this, I want that, but through alchemy. For starting from within. This is what we talk about. As within, so without. As above, so below. If you change something on one level on one dimension, right? If you change it in 5D, 3D will follow. If you change it on the level of your internal world, if you really believe in something, you start to embody it, you start to live it, despite the fact it's not yet manifested in an outside world. This is what we mean, becoming creator of your own reality, becoming the alchemist. And this journey is worth it, even if you will last 5 years. It is never too late. Do not allow anyone ever say to you, because yes, you can come back here. Yes, you can reincarnate. Yes, you can do this all alone again. But you won't remember again. This life, this avatar, this human body that you have, it only has one life. It only has one shot. Don't give up. Don't say ridiculous things. It's one of the key nonsense illusions that should be absolutely eliminated. And everyone who says that should be slapped in the face by the spirit. It is too late. It is never too late for anything. It is never too late to awaken. It is never too late to reach out to the person that you really love. It is never too late to change. It is never too late to exit in karmic relationship, to let go of limiting beliefs, to change. They tell you, it's the program. They tell you that it's too late. That when you're in your 40s, 50s, 60s, it's too late. Because why? It's part of a program. So we stay dormant. So we stay under the illusion of the linearity of time, of the powerlessness of who we are. You are universe. You are all powerful. 555 on the timer. You are. It's never too late. It's never too late to take a decision. And every single person that I knew and took that decision, that one decision, there's always, in everybody's life, there's always that one, sometimes there's few, but it's this one decision that you have to take that requires courage of spirit. And it will get a little bit more challenging. It will get a little bit worse. But then it is the spot. It's actually the alignment. It's the decision that changes everything. Every person that I knew that took that decision, they always at one point turn around and say, man, I wish I've done it earlier. Man, I wish I didn't wait that long. Man, I wish I wasn't stuck in fear and guilt and lack of courage. And I just do it. It's the only corporate quote that actually makes sense. Nike, just do it. Just do it. Just break up with this person. Just say it out loud. And it's going to create a ripple effect that will be inevitable, that will get you to the point that you want to be. Just say it out loud. do what you want to do. Do not make them believe that it is too late. It is never too late. And granted, if you actually are doing inner work, if you've actually awakened, you look back and you say, man, I wish I've done it earlier. You're already wise enough to know that everything happens for a reason. It's okay. Life is about the journey, not about the destination, right? But fear is one of the worst things that blocks us from living this adventure. Fear is that thing that makes us believe that it's too late, that it's not possible, that it's not accomplishable, that I cannot do it. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. Repeat after me. Yes, I can. Now go and just do it.